Rock Chat with Trace.
This interview I'm talking to Alan Nimmo, who's in the band King. Hello Alan, and thank you for doing this interview. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm lovely today, apart from it being very cold and very wet. So apart from that, yes, great.
How did you get started in music?
I was a very young kid, and my mum still is to this day a huge music fan. She always used to put records on all the old record players, and she'd tell me to listen to it. And it would be bands like Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac or Eric Clapton or Steve Marriott. So I started with things like that, and then I used to love listening to the charts on a Sunday. You remember we used to record the charts on a Sunday afternoon with your old music centre and things like that. And from there, a lot of musical influences started sort of getting embedded within me. What took years and years later for me to discover what I actually really liked, and because of what I used to listen to. But then later on, when I was in my teens, my brother was older than me, started playing guitar and getting into blues bands. So I sort of followed suit and got into that as well. Started listening to B.B. King and Peter Green and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimmy Vaughan, T-Bone Walker, Muddy Waters, all that stuff. So I got into it from there, and then I just wanted to start in a band, and the rest is some kind of history. I don't know if it's good or bad, but you're all stuck with me now.
You started your first album with your brother, is that correct?
Well, not entirely correct, no. I started a band with a bunch of schoolmates when I was young, and then I formed the Blackwater Blues Band. Now, that was with the current bass player in the band, Xander Greenshields. Him and I started that band, and then we got my brother into that band. We got him to leave a band he was playing with to come and join us, and then that's where it started from there. So, and then we went on, and for two brothers to work together for 25 years now, and when we haven't killed each other, we've done all right.
How would you explain Maverick?
Maverick, well, I mean, first of all, to start with the title, it was something that, with all the changes that I had made in the band, the lineup changes, management changes, everything, I took a lot of risks in doing it all at once, but that's me. That's kind of what I do. If I know that something needs to change, then that's what I'll do. And so the Maverick title was kind of born out of that. But the musically, it's something that I'm really pleased with, because I feel like I've now got the players in the band. I've musical talent to express what I really wanted, to get across what I really wanted in my songwriting. And these guys were able to pull. I could sit and explain something to someone and say, I need you to do this, but think about this, but play it like that. But then don't play it quite like that, but play it kind of like this, but like that as well, but with that in mind. And they're kind of able to stay. I've got a few funny looks, kind of like, what? And then they could go and do it. And which was the beauty. I've got such a bunch of talented players, and there's a great chemistry between us all as well, and there's a great camaraderie, which is really, really important. And we can talk honestly with one another. I'd be in the booth singing one of the vocals for one of the songs, and I would think, yeah, that was not too bad, by the way. And I would walk back out into the control room, and my brother would be standing there like this, going, just get back in and start that again. That was crap. So we've got that sort of, it's a kind of brotherhood, and it's like a family. So we can be that way with total honesty, which is great.
What's the inspiration behind Never Give In?
Pretty much, it kind of does what it says in the tin. Really, it's about no matter what you do, I think there'll be obstacles put in front of you. I've certainly learned that over the years. Even from starting this band, at least starting King. And the Nimmo brothers before that there's always going to be something in your way. There's always going to be something that is difficult, makes things difficult, sets you back. But no matter what you do, no matter how many things or people or anything that try and get in your way and try and pull you back and pull you down, you just never give in. You just keep on going. And you use your determination and your will and your passion for what you do to make it work.
What are your favourite songs on the album?
I've got a different favourite every day. It's really strange. I've got one day it's this, one day it's that. I've got one here actually. Look, I'm gonna look at them. I think I love songs like By Your Side's very personal to me, so I like that. And then other days I Will Not Fall, or all of them are my favourites, all of them at the moment anyway. I think because it's a fairly new album, and I'm loving all the new songs, so all of them are my favourites at the minute.
Tell me about Maverick Deluxe.
Maverick Deluxe. All I know is that when we did the other recording, the acoustic recording, it was just like we went into the studio. It was a studio over in Glasgow, and it was a really, really nice place. And I wanted to do a broken down version of some of the songs, some of the Maverick songs, some of the older songs. I just wanted to do this. I had in mind the old MTV Unplugged sessions, because I loved what Eric Clapton did with that. I loved what Bryan Adams did with that, and I thought, yeah, I'd love to do something like this. That kind of idea where you showcase the strength of the song rather than trying to, be flashy with volume or tricks or anything like that. I just wanted to break down the songs to the kind of rawest form and hope for the best, that the strength of the song would stick out. And that's what we did there with that, and that was really pleasing to me. It's actually one of my favourite things to listen to now. Actually, I like listening to all the song, because the way we sort of arranged some of it and how we played some of it was really, really nice, and it was just it's really pleasant. I love this, and it gets to showcase everyone's voice as well. So backing vocals are a big thing for me, and they sounded great. The guys did a really great job, and it was all live as well. So I'm really proud of the boys for that.
The album has themes of love and tragedy. Would you say this is your most personal album to date?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I mean, I always write songs from pretty much life experience and what's been going on in my life, or has been going on, or what's about to happen. So there's always something in there that's been part of my life. But yeah, I think some of the content's very personal in this one, probably more personal than a lot of things. I mean, you've got songs like You Stop the Rain from the Reaching for the Light album, which was about, my brother basically having cancer. So I mean, that doesn't get much more personal than that. But yeah, I think this was a mixture of concerns about the planet and its health, concerns about the industry, the music industry, and what's happening with it, where it's going, which is a bit of a worry, to be honest, about what's happening in the music industry at the moment. It's I think, in all honesty, I think the music business is in a massive amount of trouble, which needs to be addressed immediately. Otherwise, we won't have any music anymore. Bands will simply stop touring and stop writing and recording, because too many people are taking from that, and bands are not getting enough. Bands are just not. They're being left with nothing all over the place, and there's a mixture of very deep personal issues that have been going on in life, and so yeah, it probably is one of the most personal albums I've ever done.
Do you think the music scene can recover?
I don't. It can. I think it can. I don't see why it can't. Well, it can recover. It's whether or not it will be allowed to recover. I think there's two issues here. We're obviously talking about the pandemic. I think the music industry can recover from the pandemic, no problem. I think at one time people had it in their heads that they were okay with how things were going, and they were okay with not being out watching live shows, and they were okay sitting watching it on a computer screen. But I think time's passed again, and I think a lot of people now are reverting back to that. Right, you know what? I really need to be out in a venue or a bar or an arena or somewhere. I need to be somewhere watching live music. We need some personal. We need to be involved with each other again. We need to start connecting as human beings. And I think I think it can recover from that. There's other issues in the music industry, like I said, that I think are going to be very, very difficult to recover from if things don't change. I think there's too many people in the background taking far too much, bleeding the industry dry, to be perfectly honest, and leaving the artist high and dry. So many issues, so many aspects that need to be addressed. And if we don't address these issues and we don't do something about it, there will be no music left. Bands will not. They just won't be able to do anything for you anymore. There'll be no recording, no gigs, no albums, because all the costs are still the same. It still costs the same amount of money to produce music. You just don't get anywhere near the return. If, in fact, some people don't get any return. So there's your streaming sites when everyone can get music for free and everything else, and it's killing us. It's killing the game. It's killing the industry. So we need to think about that, and we need to think about how we can repair it.
What about the situation with the EU at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, well, to be honest, I don't know much about it because they're not, as usual, the government don't really come forth with any real information to make it clear for us. But by the look of what we've been told already, it's probably going to be very, very difficult to tour in Europe and other places because of the, if we've got to buy visas for each country. I don't quite know how they're going to work it. So I think that if it's a case of this only kicks in if you're over there for longer than 30 days, which means then you have to pull back your touring in Europe to make sure that you're over there and back within that period, which means if you've got a lot to do in Europe you've got to keep coming back and forward, which means you're buying tickets to cross the channel all the time. But it's probably less expensive than it would be to keep on buying visas to keep crossing every invisible border. If you think about going from Dover into Calais, you're in France. Then if you want to drive to Germany, you've got to go through France, Holland, Belgium, Luxembourg. It's like you're going through a lot of countries to get to the place you're going. And if you're getting pulled over each time and getting charged money for whatever merchandise you're carrying, or you're paying for visas to do this and that, then it's probably not worth doing. And especially for bands who are not, they're not huge mega bands, putting thousands and thousands of people in seats to watch them. If you're an average band touring, just working hard, then it's very, very difficult. So I don't know, but I don't know the actual guidelines. I don't know the information because it's not there really for us to be told. So as soon as we're told something a bit more solid about it, as soon as the government starts sort of realising that the music industry does exist and that we're here waiting for answers, maybe we'll get told something and we can discuss that at another time.
Before the pandemic, how violent would you say is the blues rock scene?
I think the blues, particular blues, the UK blues scene, I think it's always kind of fluctuated. It's always came up and down a little bit. I mean, ever since I've been involved in it, which was the very early 90s. From then, at least, I know that I've noticed that it used to come and go, and every maybe 4 or 5 years it was booming, and then it would drop a little bit, then it would boom again after another few years. But I think it was I think it's been in a decent state probably for the last up to 10 years, maybe. It's been in quite a consistent, good state. And before the pandemic, I think it was all right. But between that and I think with the now what we call the classic rock scene, with the heritage bands coming back out and playing again, who are all sort of steeped in blues when they started. That was where so you're getting bands from the 70s or early 80s all coming back out to play again. I think that started connecting with the blues scene as well, because it was connected musically, so it helped it. So it made it even stronger. But then, of course, it all went very wrong, didn't it? And we've all been stuck indoors, struggling.
How have you engaged with fans during lockdown?
We've had to just keep in touch, via I suppose that's the wonderful thing. One of the good things about the internet. There's many bad things about the internet, but this is one of the good things that it's not like in particular the first lockdown we had. It wasn't as if we were all sat there in our homes by candlelight, not being able to communicate with anyone. We had the beauty of this. We could talk to our families, our friends. We could see each other face to face and chat away. So we managed to keep in touch with the fans that way. What you've got to do is you've got to keep momentum going. You've got to keep everyone interested in what you're doing, even though you're pretty much doing nothing. So, we would put music videos. We would just do videos sat here or things like that and play songs acoustically. We were introducing new parts of merchandise. We were obviously keeping people updated on what was happening with the album and things like that as well. So luckily enough, that was all going on at that time. So we had plenty to talk about over the period. So that's how we kept in touch. And just, you chat away. I've done a live session where we just sort of chatted to the fans online. And I also do a radio show as well. So I keep in touch with people that way. So we can keep on chatting about different kinds of music and requests. And occasionally I play King on there just for. So yeah, it's been lucky that we've had things like this to actually be able to keep in touch with people, but because it could have been a lot worse if we didn't have this. It would have been, I think, a lot tougher for people to handle.
What tours have you got hopefully this year?
Hopefully we will be touring the UK in October. And then from there, we'll be moving on to Holland and Germany. Now, all we can do is just have our fingers crossed that that's all going to go ahead. There is a couple of things coming up in the summertime, festival-wise, at the moment. Whether or not they go ahead is a different story. We just don't know. That's the issue here. We just don't know. Nobody can second guess this. Nobody's got any, clairvoyance to look at the future and say this is definitely going to happen or it's definitely not going to happen. We just don't know. And that's the problem. All kind of decisions get made for these things very, very last minute. So if something is, as far as we're concerned, happening just now, it's out there, it's on our website, we'll advertise it, but we could, along with you guys, get told at any moment that it's not happening. So we just don't know. So all we can do is just try and put it out to the universe and stay positive and make sure that, someone's looking after us.
Are you happy to talk about how COVID affected you?
Yeah. I was struck down with COVID for over the Christmas and New Year period. I had it really badly, actually. It was a few members of my family and friends caught it all at the same time, and they all luckily were typical. I just get all the bad luck. They were okay. They were pretty much fine, apart from Xander in the band, the bass player in the band, caught it as well, and he was about as bad as me. I mean, I was bedridden for 3 weeks, and and I don't mind saying it that at certain points I was sort of lying in bed saying, "Yeah, I'm ready. Just take me now. I can't handle this anymore. I'll gladly end it all now. Just take me now." It was horrible. I was delirious. Massive fever and couldn't breathe. And it was just a horrible. It was probably the worst couple of weeks I probably ever had to endure in terms of, we've all had flu, we've had food poisoning pretty bad. This was nothing. That was a day in the park compared to this. I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. It was a very, very, very difficult thing to cope with. It was very, very hard. So that's why I would say to people, you really don't want to get this, because if there's people out there that are vulnerable as well and ill, with other things, I do know personally people who have been that way and caught COVID and died. People, friends and family have done that. It's not something to not take seriously. If we can adhere to the rules, stay safe, keep your mask on, don't go out as much, just don't do it, because New Zealand have now opened up the doors. That's it. New Zealand's back to normal, like everything, virus free, because they adhered to the rules. The UK, we seem to have an issue with this. We're so rebellious as a nation. I'm not doing that. It's like, that whole British thing where it's like, no, I'm going down to Tesco and I'm going to mix with all my pals. And it's like, no, don't do it. Just don't do it, because I wouldn't wish this virus upon anyone. And if you've got anyone in your family who's, in a vulnerable state, if you hand that virus to them, you can kiss them goodbye, because they ain't coming back from it. It's a terrible, terrible virus. Hopefully the vaccine getting rolled out now will help a lot of things, but it doesn't stop you getting the virus. So we still need to be very, very careful. So the people of the UK need to stop being, I think, so British and just start behaving themselves and get on with it. Get on with looking after themselves and doing the right thing, so that we can all collectively, as a planet, we can get rid of this thing and we can get back to normal. But at this stage, who knows what normal is going to be?
Are you fully recovered now?
I think so. I injured my leg because I was lying curled up in a ball for so long, and then I started trying to walk up in the hills too quickly. I gave myself tendinitis, but so I'm limping a little bit. But apart from that, I'm pretty much okay. It took me a while to actually get fully recovered. I mean, I actually thought I was recovered, and then I'd be talking to someone and they'd be saying like, "Nah, you don't look right, or you don't sound right just yet." And I thought I was okay, but it does take a little bit longer. Once you start feeling better again, when you're able to be up and about and move around, that's not necessarily you recovered yet. It still took another 2 or 3 weeks before I felt sort of normal again, really. So it does take a long time, so just please everybody, just be careful, just be safe, just let's rid ourselves of this virus so we can have a life.
What's so special about Black Magic Woman?
Well, it was something that we did. This was I mean, I think I was trying to actually remember when we did this now. I think it must have been about 2006. My brother and I decided we wanted to do a little sort of tribute to Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac, because we're both massive fans of Greenie. And we just got together with a couple of mates of ours, and I said, okay, I'll just play some drums then for a bit of a laugh, because the other guitar player that he had in was Colin Black from a band called The Stumble. And Colin was pretty much, it doesn't get said often enough, but Colin Black, for my brother and I, he was a kind of mentor to us musically as we were young. Colin had a band up here in Glasgow, a blues band, and he introduced my brother to a whole world of blues music and blues artists, which then was introduced to me. So Colin was this amazing guitar player in Glasgow who used to sound and play like a Peter Green, and we used to go and watch him play. And then we obviously he lives in England with his wife and kids now, and been down there for years. But we're still friends. We still we can still phone each other up, and it's just like yesterday the last time we spoke to each other. So we decided let's do a couple of bits like that, and we got an old bass player that was a Nimmo Brothers bass player, Sam Firth, to come and play bass for us. And it was just, to be honest, it was just to go out and do for a bit of fun. I think we did about 7 or 8 shows, and it was just to do for a bit of a laugh, bit of fun, just to enjoy ourselves. But it worked really well, and I and it was just, I happened to be digging through some stuff, and I found the discs. I found we recorded one of the shows on a mini disc player, and I found them, and I thought, oh, I'll upload them into my computer, and I thought, well, I'll release one of them just to let people hear just how it sounded back then, and that was it. But I mean, there's loads of Peter Green songs on. There's loads to come. I'll maybe let you hear some more. We'll put some more out later, but yeah, Black Magic Woman's a great song. I mean, I think when you say Peter Green, it's almost like Black Magic Woman comes with the name.
Where can you get the albums?
You can get the Maverick album at king.co.uk. You go onto the website there, and there's a link there that will direct you to the Townsend stores. It will say TM stores, and you can click on there. The album's there, all the various versions of the album, whether it's CD, vinyl, coloured vinyl, picture disc, all that. There's the acoustic CD there as well. There's different bundles and loads of other stuff there that you can purchase and allow me to buy myself a new set of shoes. So so go ahead.
Anything else you want to mention?
All I would say is to everyone, thank you very much for all the support that we've been given over the last year. It's been tough for everybody, so it's not like we're not aware of that. We're not just sitting here sort of with our hand out and going like, oh, please help us. We are completely aware that it's been difficult for everyone. So for people then to still be very, very supportive of the band while we're not on the road doing anything has been amazing. It's a testament to our fans, which I'll always say are the best in the world. Please just stay safe, everybody. Look after yourselves. Put your mask on. And the more we do this, the quicker this all goes away, and the quicker we can get back to seeing one another again and getting together. I can't wait personally to walk out on your stage and see everyone's smiling faces. That's going to be a very emotional moment for me when I do that. You'll probably see tears. That's it though. Just look after yourself, everybody, and stay safe.
King released Maverick on 27th of November 2020, and I'd like to thank Alan for joining me for this interview.
Thanks, Tracy.